In the United States, there are approximately 1.5 million children who have been adopted. We often come across tales of adopted children reuniting with their biological families after being separated for many years, sometimes even decades. However, the reunions involving foundlings can be truly remarkable. Witness an extraordinary video showcasing a family residing in the same town, completely unaware of their connection, and be amazed by an even more astounding account. Discover the story of a courageous woman who discovered a baby buried alive and, against all odds, found him again 2 decades later. Prepare to be captivated by these amazing stories of unexpected reunions and the power of love and fate. Watch the video below to witness the extraordinary journeys that unfolded. Simon and his siblings. Simon Jeffrey had spent his entire adult life hoping to find his birth family. Simon had left outside a UK pub in a corned beef box with 2 tins of corned beef in 1963. Having tried everything to no avail, Simon approached the TV show Long Lost Family in an effort to track down his parents. The show was started for just this purpose, although Simon wasn't sure whether it was actually real. Like many reality shows, there was a good chance that it was all scripted and that Simon would not be able to find his family at all if he did not find them before the show started. Nicknamed Oliver Twist by hospital staff, Simon was taken in by Graves and foster carers Kathleen and Ernest Jeffrey, who went on to adopt him. Although his adoptive parents passed away some years ago, he still lives in the same house with his wife, Jane, and son Jack. 5 miles from the pub where he was found as an infant, he hadn't ever moved away. He was hoping that if he stayed nearby, his birth mother would be able to find him if she wanted to. He did love his adoptive parents, and he was grateful for the help over the years. However, he still wanted to find the people that he shared blood with, even if he could not explain why. It plagued his every thought, and he always wondered whether they were thinking of him at all or whether they wanted him back. Maybe they were looking for him too, or maybe they wanted nothing to do with him. Simon assumed that if he had siblings, he would be the oldest of them. However, he was surprised to learn that he was the youngest of 7. His siblings speculated that his mother was suffering from postpartum depression and unable to cope with having had 7 children in less than 10 years. The family figured that their father must have known about the baby and that he must have driven Simon to the pub and left him there that night, figuring that the family couldn't cope with another mouth to feed and that the busy pub would ensure that someone found the child. Unbeknownst to Simon's siblings, there was another child in their family. A surprising revelation came to light. Simon and his siblings had grown up just 2 miles apart. In an extraordinary twist, Simon and one of his sisters had even worked together at the same co-op in 1986. The coincidences were overwhelming, as if it was meant to be. It fueled Simon's belief that he was destined to reunite with his long-lost family. A life-altering secret emerged when one of his brothers, Stephen, disclosed that their mother, nearing the end of her life, had confided in him about another son. She pleaded with Stephen to find this boy, a fact he initially dismissed as a wandering mind or a reference to a deceased brother. Nevertheless, this revelation brought solace to Simon, assuring him that he had not been forgotten. Since discovering each other, they have celebrated birthdays and holidays together, forever changed by their reunion. Reunited after 20 years, one Saturday evening in 1998, Azita Milanian was out running with her dogs. She had been invited to go dancing instead, but felt disinclined to go out and was enjoying her jog through the foothill in Altadena, 50 miles outside of Los Angeles, California. A series of accidents and impulses meant that she was not following the trail she normally went down, but a path completely unfamiliar to her. Suddenly, a strange feeling came over her, perhaps a premonition. She felt as though she was going to be sick. Her dog Tango had also felt something. He had run off into the trees a few yards away. Azita tried to get Tango to move on, but he refused to leave the spot. She had thought he had found an animal or something in the bushes, but when she looked closer, she saw something poking up out of the ground. The tiny feet of an infant. In a moment of shock and urgency, Azita screamed and fought to free the baby from the ground, using her bare hands. The newborn boy, wrapped in a blue towel, was barely clinging to life, with his umbilical cord still attached. Despite Azita's repeated attempts to call for help, she was repeatedly disconnected. In desperation, she managed to flag down a passing motorist who made the crucial emergency call. While waiting for the police to arrive, Azita painstakingly cleared dirt from the baby's nose and mouth, assuring him that she would not leave his side and pleading for him to hold on. It took an agonizing 30 minutes for the 911 responders to arrive. During that time, Azeda feared that the baby had already succumbed. However, he weakly grasped her wrist, giving her hope as she continued to comfort him with her words. Upon the arrival of Los Angeles deputies, Darren Harris and Joel Nebel, they assessed the baby's critical condition. Recognizing the severity, they immediately called for paramedics who wasted no time in rushing the baby to the hospital. Upon arrival, the baby's body temperature had plummeted to a dangerous 80 degrees Fahrenheit, requiring immediate treatment for severe hypothermia. Remarkably, the doctors noted that the baby's weight, a healthy 7 pounds and 12 ounces, had played a role in his survival. Despite the initial expectations of hospital staff at Huntington Memorial, the baby made a miraculous recovery. Named Baby Christian by the nurses, his story reached people across the United States who sent toys, clothes, and donations to support him. Azeda, eager to help, visited the baby as soon as she was allowed. While tempted to adopt him herself, she feared that her involvement in the press would jeopardize his safety. The circumstances surrounding the baby's burial in the bushes remained a mystery, with authorities speculating that he might be the child of a desperate and panicked young mother. Despite the police's efforts and a $5,000 reward, no one came forward with information about the baby's abandonment. However, the authorities did receive calls from a young woman inquiring about potential penalties and the baby's progress at the hospital. Azeda, deeply connected to the baby, regularly contacted the hospital but was eventually informed that he had been adopted, making it impossible for her to see him. After losing contact with the child, Azeda turned her grief into a positive force. She established the nonprofit organization Children of One Plant, dedicated to helping orphan children worldwide. Additionally, she founded Tosta Evening and Dancewear, a company that holds fashion and dance events to raise funds for children in need. Both initiatives continue to make a difference today. Meanwhile, 2 decades later, a college student named Matthew Whitaker discovered shocking information from his godmother. He learned that as an infant, he had been buried and left for dead before being rescued by a jogger. This revelation left him astonished and made him realize the slim odds he had overcome to survive. It was truly a miracle that he was alive. Unaware of the full extent of this miracle, Matthew's godmother reached out to a local radio station, hoping his story would generate interest and provide more information through a DNA test. Patty Rodriguez, one of the show's producers, recalled a story she had read about a baby found buried near Los Angeles. When the DNA test confirmed that Matthew was that very baby rescued by Azeda Milanian in 1998, Patty was determined to reunite them on the on-air program hosted by Ryan Seacrest. The moment Azeda had dreamed of for 20 years finally arrived. In a heartfelt reunion, Azeda met Matthew, now a grown man. It felt as if she had known him and imagined his appearance, which closely matched reality. Together, they returned to the foothills where Azeda had discovered him as a baby, a place where Matthew would have tragically perished if not for her timely intervention. Matthew is studying at the University of Arizona, pursuing a career as an entertainment lawyer. His adoptive mother is involved in education and law, while his late father served in the military and law enforcement. Both parents passionately support Matthew in academics and his lifelong dedication to volleyball. Azeda continues leading her nonprofit organization for orphan support. Notably, Matthew plans to assist her after graduation, strengthening their close relationship. Grateful for their bond, they cherish the presence they have in each other's lives.